Here we are. Good morning. Good morning, Smork. How you doing? Good to see you. Starting a little earlier this morning because I got some stuff I gotta do toward the end of my normal stream time, so I'm gonna be stopping a little earlier as well, probably around 11 Eastern, so that's like 2.5 hours. Alright, so this morning, so I was doing a little bit of work off stream last night, and discovered some additional issues with my cracking script. So actually, before we get into that, so if you'll notice, probably my environment looks a little different over here. I don't have any of the src .js files anymore, so I went ahead and got HSE going. So this is the hackmud script environment as opposed to just the script manager. And so what that means is, like, all of these files are now being monitored, and anytime it's basically having the watch setting on all of them all the time. So they're all getting minified and stuff every time I save changes, and I don't have to constantly bounce back and forth between the directories for the different users. So that's been very helpful. That's helped me save a lot of time. The other thing I have been doing is moving some of my scripts to my library user. So my library user, if we go check, library user now has a few scripts. My voice sounds a little bit rough. No, this is just my morning voice, Mark. I'm still waking up, so I'm making my way through my coffee. I don't know what I call lazy voice. So when I'm tired, my voice is just like so it'll pick up as we go. So I've got I moved my QR solver, my scraping script for tier 2, and my unicrack script into my library user now. I've made the cracking and scraping scripts public and have left the QR solver private. What I learned, probably this is common knowledge for hackmud, but it's new for me, is that if you have a public script and a private script and another user's calling your public script, the public script can call that user's private script. Like when I'm using my primary user and I use T2 scrape on my library user, which references the QR solver, which is private, that has no issues. So I'm able to have kind of subscripts that get used by my public scripts without having to use more public slots. I think this is probably how, like, Wismud and other larger public scripts are able to expand the number of characters that they have, is by splitting up a bunch of the work across multiple private scripts and just having one public script slot. Yeah, okay, so where does that leave us? So there's still some work I have left to do before my automation can be brought up to speed. So there was an issue with the cracking script with the account NT, as there always seems to be something wrong with the account NT. So I added a whole bunch of logging in to unicrack here while I was trying to figure out why, like, it seemed like maybe 10-15% of account NT locks I get stuck on, and I thought that I had that all fixed. So I put a bunch of logging in around it. I've since removed all the logging, but what I ended up finding was that so I had discovered, actually maybe I'll bring up the, actually maybe I'll do a couple things here. I think I'm just going to post on the, I think I'm just going to post on the Discord that, that we're live. I'm assuming that it's okay. I haven't heard anything back from where I should be posting this stuff on the official Discord, so I'm just going to post it back in fan content, and we're going to see what happens. And if someone gets mad at me again, then so be it. So what I wanted to do was bring up the post that somebody made here. Let me just copy this text. Come on, let me copy you. Okay. So, I think this is broken up like this. And then the range. So this was a post from the official Discord from AST. So, and AST is one of the moderators here, so I'm assuming that they know their stuff. So, what I was finding is that even after I did, let's close a couple of these things and get them out of the way. So, what I found, so right now my account NTSolve, what it was doing is determining the boundaries, right? And the boundaries are down to the minute. So because the boundaries of account NT are down to the minute and not second, depending on how many transactions you had, there can be quite a number of potential starting and ending positions on the ranges, right? You can think of them like floating ranges. So that was kind of obvious right off the start when I started making my account in NTSolve. So I had basically code that would go and take the starting boundary and the ending boundary and find all the different possible starting positions and the totals, save the totals for the starting and the totals for the ending in arrays of possible totals, and then take what I called the floor in between and total all them up. Yes, Mark, a sliding window. So it's not, I don't know if it's a sliding window or if it's a flexible window, right? Like it could go either way or both. So this was originally what I had, was a fixed floor, a fixed inclusion. So if you were given the 10th to the 12th, everything on the 11th is included, obviously. That's what I thought. Turns out that it's the dates. It's the dates themselves that are sliding. So when it says it starts on the 10th and goes to the 12th, it could start at the 10th and go to the 11th or the 13th or any other combination of starting and ending. So it's not really a sliding window of, I guess it is a sliding window. Yeah, so Smark, it's a sliding window of fixed length. I guess the problem is you don't know what the length is. So you have to just like what do you do? You have to kind of, I think I have to do it the way that I'm doing it now, and that is I have to test all kinds of different lengths or whatever, and kind of grow and shrink the window until I find the right result. So I had assumed, now incorrectly, I know, after reading that message on Discord, this message on Discord. So because it picks indexes, doesn't care about time, it adds a small amount of random slosh to the times that it gives you. So what I had done is taken the floor and expanded and shrank the boundary, but only once each, to see if that did it, because that's what happened in the scenario that I tested, because I was just basing my fix off observation and not off of this other stuff that I didn't think about. So I have to rework this as well, and what I have to do is I have to repeat my whole method. So I have a method here that does the finding of the boundaries, and what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to call that multiple times with variants. So I'll have to call it with the exact specified start and end dates, and then I'll have to call it with the different combinations of the start date being off by 1 minute in either direction, and then the end date being off by 1 minute in either direction, and then both. So there's going to be a lot of calculation of possible values here, but I think I can get away with that by doing more code and less brute forcing. Yeah, I guess I haven't really exactly thought of how best to accomplish this yet, because this all happened like right at the end of my night last night. So I haven't had a whole lot of time to think about it. So, but it does need to get done. Sorry, one sec here. So,
Rondo's got good friends, Craig.
Yeah, it's got electrolytes.
What
Get me to
are
hydrate.
electrolytes? Do you even know? It's what
I guess
they
that
use
counts
to
as
make
hydration.
Brondo.
Counts
Yeah,
as
but
hydration,
why do
right?
they use them to make Brondo?
What happened with my man? The issues that I have with OBS are so funny sometimes. Like I have two headsets as monitors for some reason. I don't know. Anyway, I suppose I do owe you another hydration here, so. All right. So I have to clean this up. So one of the things I have to do is I have to move this floor stuff back in, because that wasn't actually part of the problem. This was kind of like this is like a red herring, I guess, in a way. So I'm gonna put this back here, because I need to, instead of repeatedly calling the floor calculation, I have to repeatedly call the whole thing. Lube those vocal cords. That started to sound better. Yeah, I'm waking up, getting the coffee, starting to go through my veins here. So, all right. So, what? So calculate unique combinations. And then try, and then brute force attempts. So I'm using a set because I did notice that there were some duplicate results across the different combinations, especially when dealing with transaction history section that involves a lot of Glocks, because Glock transactions, what they ended up being was actually just in general. So a Glock would be like me gaining a transaction, like gaining something, and then immediately losing it because I am pulling it from my bank to send it to the location I'm cracking. But also a lot because I am doing deposits at the end of my cracking. So a lot of it is receiving the amount from a breach location and then immediately depositing it to my bank. So there were a lot of totals, like in my ranges, that were 0. Depending on when you start and end, they could even themselves out very frequently. So the set will reduce the number of brute forces that I have to do instead of just like trying 0 over and over and over again, which is kind of what I was doing, not really thinking about it. Okay, so I have to, so when I get given this range, I have a get date. I think what I'm gonna have to do is I gotta find where I need to do the repetition here. I should use 0 as the first param, so I might get a solve on the first try. On the initial account NT solve. That's actually a very good idea, Smork, because I have noticed a lot of the times the answer is 0. So I can make this a new set and start with 0 here. I think that's how you initialize a new set. Maybe this. There. So I'll start with a new set of 0 so that the first attempt will always be 0, and that could solve me a lot of brute forcing, even if 0 shows up a ton of times in my calculations. And this way it won't, anyway, 0 is almost always in there somewhere as a potential answer, but this way, ensuring that it's at the beginning of the set. Good idea, thank you. All right, so what I have to do here is I have to figure out where, like which part of this code I need to retry while shifting the dates. So this is getting the date strings. This is converting the ranges to date times. So potentially it might be here. Because I'll need to do this, which is getting the max and min seconds for the specified minute. And then this finds the indexes in my transaction array. Yeah, I think that might be the spot. So what I will need to do is I have to. So this is a bit different because so they're strings until I convert them to dates. That's the only problem I have here. So it's like it's hard to do math on strings, especially since we're dealing with time, because it's not like I can just add 1 to it, because a rollover may cause it to go from like 59 to 60 if I treat it as a number. So I might have to do the fuzziness after I convert them, which would mean that I would do them here. I would shift them I have to do like a staggered step shift. So I would have to take the maxes and mins as given and try that. Maybe I should just write this down. So I would do the max and min as given. I would do the max. This kind of sucks because they can shift in either direction. They can come in, or they can go out. And if they Smork, counts.transactions is script false. Gives time as yeah. It gives time as like a hackmud date format. So I have a function I made here that converts that to a JavaScript date time, or a JavaScript date in UTC. I can remove the dot to get a nice string. Yeah, but I don't want the day, because I just want to flex the minute a little bit. Slosh as AST described in Discord. So like these come back, these are dates, so it's a lot easier to add and remove a minute from the date at this point. So and then I can pretty much use the rest of the logic as it sits. It just needs to be put into a loop of some kind. So I'm just trying to think about how best to do that, because I have to like float them, not like convert them to actual floats, but they have to like float up and down. Add a minute, I can just add 1 to the value of what you posted. No, but that's the thing. I can't safely. It's way better. It's way safer, Smork, to convert them to a date and then add a minute to it, because if I just take the numeric value of that and add 1 to it, if it's 59, if it ends in 59 minutes and I just add 1 to it, it will become 60. 60 is not a valid number for a time, right? It has to roll over. So it's just safer to do that after it's been converted to a date. So the thing is I have to do like this variable mixed boundary floating, because I have to do like max plus 1 and min, right? And then I have to do the spacing is off and it's bothering me. And then I have to do max minus 1 and min, and then I have to do max and min plus 1, like etc. So that's kind of annoying. I mean, the plus 1 minus 1 thing, I actually think I've done that before, because what it is it's what did I did this before? This is essentially just like flipping the negative on it as I go through the loop. So I think this is going to be 2 for loops. So the first for loop is going to be I'm going to call it we got max and min. I don't know how many other loops I have in here. I have eyes and stuff already. I'm right. Thank you. That's the only part I'm going to focus on in that sentence. I'm just kidding. You've been putting off working on account ed and you looked at some tier 3 locks. They have barely any documents. Yeah, tier 3 is going to be hard. I think some of it involves encryption, like legitimate encryption. So that's going to be tough. My encryption, computational encryption, is not very good because I'm not a big math person, which you'd think is funny coming from a programmer, that I would be good at math. doing all my work for the last 20 years on a giant calculator has definitely weakened my math skills. But don't be discouraged. So account NT has definitely taken the vast amount of my effort for tier 2 locks, and you know, from what I've seen for people talking on hackmud Discord, is that's normal. Out of all the tier 2 locks, account NT is like 70+% of the work. So don't let yourself get discouraged, Smirk, that you're finding account NT to be a lot harder than the other locks. Just stick with it. Just stick with it. Or if you don't find, you know what? This is a game, right? If you don't find account NT fun anymore, then don't do it. Just cheat. Use somebody else's script. Don't be ashamed of that either. You went and worked on smork.keys. I'll have to check that out at some point. Okay, so I'm gonna have like an X and an N, I think, here to be max and min. So I'm gonna do let X equal 0. I'm not going to have an end condition because the end condition is going to be a successful result for account NT. That will be my break condition. And X is going to have to increment by by 1. And what this will end up being is that the Amax, I actually don't know any of the date methods here in JavaScript, so I'm going to go take a look at them. Nope. Oh, I got screwed up. So, what can you do? What are the date math commands here is what I need to look at. So new date, yeah, that's fine. Yeah. Date methods. ToString to UTC string. Maybe they're date set methods. Do they not have like date? I guess I can do set minutes is get minutes plus 1. No, because that won't work either, because it'll give me 59 and I'll add 60 to it. You've been selling rare keys at 20 million a pop a lot? I actually did just buy one of your keys last night. I thought it was funny because I went to find a key and you were the only one that had a copy of it on the market, so I bought it. There's an add time in libs. Is it add time? Date and milliseconds. Okay. Gets the date of date plus. Okay. That's helpful. Thank you again, Smork. So Amax would equal add lib dot add time Amax, and it'd be 60,000. That's 1 minute. And then the problem is I have to do the combinations. Man, this is gonna take. Okay, this stuff is going to look like it's gonna take a long time, but it's all just pre-filling the hash set. So I'm just gonna. So I have to I have to make sure the first time through this loop behaves normally, like there are no floating start and end points. So this one is going to be, it's going to be 60,000 times x. So the first time through this loop, it's going to add nothing to it. And then for that one, I do need an end condition because I don't want to float more than like 2 minutes. I don't want to float more than 2 minutes in either direction because I think that's going to be tough. And this could potentially cause me an issue. This could potentially cause me an issue if the A min, sorry, I think it's A is less than B. So B comes down from the top. I'm gonna rate it like this. And I'm gonna move this here. A is less than B. High or top of array. I'm going to move this one up to, because that's more relevant up here. So so B max, so B min and A max, right, are the interior ranges on my time transactions array. I don't want them to ever cross over because that'll blow up all my code. I don't even know what that'll do. It'll give me some really weird numbers. So I need to make sure that I calculate the distance between those two and I don't reduce any more than that distance at any given time. So I have to make sure that I put probably a continue in here if A max and A min, if B min is ever less than A max, that I just don't do that. Don't bother trying to figure that one out. So I'll have a for loop for the A maxes. I might as well write the other loop here. So let the mins equal 0, just for consistency. I want the mins to be less than or equal to 2 minutes as well, and n++. So I will then calculate a min. Basically do the same thing here, except this will be n, and this will be min. If A max, sorry, this is supposed to be I think I should make this B min. Shit, hold on. Alright, I want the upper one to be B. So B max and B min. I want to adjust both of them. Okay, and then I want to do the same thing for A max and A min. Actually, I suppose just replace the letter A here. This autocomplete stuff pops up way too much. You think the object is just expressed in milliseconds, so I could just add 60,000 to it? So I could do B max plus equals 60,000. Yeah, actually, I think you're right, Smork. I'm gonna comment this one out. in case that's not true, so I don't lose that syntax, but I think you're right. I think I can just do plus equals this. Plus equals this. Saves me some characters. Okay. So, okay. So the first time through both of these loops, I end up with 0 and 0. I need to add the check though in case this isn't the first time through the loop. So I have to do if b min is ever, so b is supposed to be greater than a all the time. So if b min is ever less than a max, that means that my boundaries have overlapped, and I'm just going to forget it because that's not, I don't think, a possibility here. It's always a start and an end range. I don't think they're ever reversed. So if that's the case, I'm just going to continue. Otherwise, I need to do all of this. I need to do all, actually what I want to do is I want to do this up to here with the set, and then I will brute force through all of them from top to bottom. So let's move the set out above here. And then let's take I don't think I really need, I mean, that's a pretty good summary of what I'm doing, so I'm just going to move it like closer to the top of this method. Actually, maybe I'll just put it right at the top. Okay. I don't need this. Okay, so I think I take okay, I don't need this because I don't want to lose any of this description, because if I come back to this in like a month, I don't want to totally forget what I've done, though given the amount of time I spent on it, I'm probably not going to forget. I think what I'll do is I'll actually account nt I think I'll just copy this verbatim, what AST said, and I'll just add it here. This is very wordy, but important. Okay, so now that I have that there, I don't need this big block, which was me just kind of like being frustrated at the end of the night last night. Alright, so then I can take this whole thing and put it here. So this will go and recalculate the boundaries and the floor. Wake up, bro. Oh. All right. Oh God. Oh man. Phew, thank you. I'm actually gonna have some coffee too. You don't need to tell me to do that. Alright. I don't know, my monitors in OBS aren't working anymore either. I don't know why that's happening, but oh well. I'll figure that out a different time. Okay, so I will do, if they haven't crossed over, I will do all the stuff I normally did and start piling combinations into my hash set. And this will prevent duplicates because it's a set. At the end, I will go through all of my combos, starting with 0. So if 0 is the first answer, I've done all this math for no reason. That's fine. This computationally should only be 100 milliseconds or so anyway. Okay, so actually, I think what I have to do is I have to make this a function, like a sub-function. I think that's what I want to do. So I had this ff function that was originally doing my flooring. I think I want to do that instead. And I want to pass in, let's see. I don't need to pass yeah, the actual code takes a little time. It's the calls that take up the most. Yeah, exactly. So I've got this like reluctance to add a whole bunch of codes that I think is still a holdover from character limits. But like, look at how I'm already at 4,400 minified. 4,400 characters minified. And this is one of the reasons why I moved the crack script. One of many reasons why I moved it to my library user, because my library user is just a weaver. So it just has chars. So there's a lot more room in there. So FF needs to take Bmax, Bmin, Amax, Amin. And then it'll return it's doing combos.add. So I think what I'm going to end up doing is actually declaring combos at a higher scope here. And then my function can just add to it. Can just add to it outside of scope. Instead of having to worry about passing by ref and all that crap. Buy some blue V2 char counts. I actually haven't done a lot of farming though, so I don't have like millions and like hundreds of millions of credits right now. I'm good though, because I think my library users got 5,700, so I'm okay for now. And I have like room for 7 more scripts to be loaded. So my library users all just Weaver scripts and keys because it never has any GC on it. So all right, where was I? Right, so I have a subfunction for GTX. Takes the Bmax, Bmin, Amax, Amin from GTX. Adds to the combo set. Okay, so then up here, actually I'll just call this GTX2. So in here, I will call GTX2 with Bmax, Bmin, Amax, Amin. and that should add everything to my combos set without having to do really anything else. Alright, so that does the positive float direction. I need to do a negative float direction. So the negative float direction. Hi, my kitty is here. You're getting tangled up in my headphones cord. So I need to float in the other direction as well. So I will have to basically duplicate this. Oh, hold on. So what I wanted to do +1, and then -2, and then +3, and then -4. We'll do 2 in either direction. So if I do less than or equal to 4 here, and less than or equal to 4, these are supposed to be n though. N++. And I do if n is if n mod 1, then n times if n mod 1, then 1. Otherwise -1. So this will have it like floating back and forth. And then I'll do the same thing here. Actually, it makes more sense to put this into a var. Let n1, I guess, equal this, and then do n times n1. And then I'll do the same thing with an x1 here. No, it's x times x1. So this will flip the direction because I'm adding to it. So this will help me go like back and forth instead of dealing with index bullshit. So what you're doing is you're planning to make an array of transactions, do a loop, and unshift the first index, and then loop over all the possible end indexes. So that will work, but you have to remember that it could also be that the first index is stable and the end index is stable, and it's the first index that has to do possibilities, right? So I kind of treat it the way that I treat my Magnara, which is you have to pre-calculate all the different combinations, right? So there's a certain number of combinations based off of what's in the range. And you have to do like all the combinations back and forth between both, and then have them all in a giant array and remove a bunch of the duplicates. At least that's what I'm doing. You'll start the first index at -1. I mean, it's hard for me to fully understand without seeing the actual code that you're doing, but you know, experiment. There's more than one way to solve this stuff, right? Which is what makes programming so interesting. If it works, then it's not wrong, right? Like that's the proof. So, okay, so that should do one of the directions, and then I have to reverse these, I think. to do the other direction of combinations, because this is doing for each x, it's going to do all the n's, but then I have to do for each n, doing all the different x's. So I'll reverse these loops. Basically, I'm going to reverse these loops. I think that'll do it. You put a little too much vodka in your vodka orange juice. Smorg, what time is it where you are? You're not drinking. I hope you're not drinking at 9:30 in the morning. I guess it doesn't matter. You're an adult. I hope. It's the afternoon. Yeah, Saturday afternoon. Whatever. Get day drunk, man. You do you. Alright. So that should give me a bunch of combos. And what I can do here is I can also log. I can just log the whole combos array. Just to see what kind of stuff I'm dealing with. So this will float. Have to deal with the slosh. Will it's gonna be plus or minus 2 mins on each date. Okay, we're gonna see if that works. Don't drink during the week. That's good. I don't drink at all. Not because I don't like it, but I have become allergic to alcohol. It's kind of a bummer. I have acquired a lot of food and drink sensitivities because of my autoimmune disorder. So alcohol is unfortunately one of the things that I cannot consume anymore. It's kind of a bummer, but you get used to it. It's been years. It's been years now, so. Yes, sweetheart, what are you doing? Come here. Come here. There you go. All right. Sorry, my cat is being very demanding right now. She wants more breakfast. Okay. All right, so let's up this. And then we'll, I suppose we don't need to switch the other user to use like beta lock sim, for example. And then I can do unicrack just from here. Reference TA not defined. Oh, I also certified my pay the cat tax. Okay, one sec. I can do this. I can do this. Okay. Bear with me here. Where is this stuff? I think this. No. Two 17. Yeah. Okay. Can I bring this up? Where is it? Eh. There she is. Eating her breakfast. She's eating. Does she not like to be picked up? Not particularly. She's a very old girl. So I gotta hold my phone at a weird angle here. Anyway, she's eating her breakfast. But no, she doesn't really like being picked up too much. She's fairly old. I mean, she's senior. She's senior baby. 16. But she's got a little. Oh, come on. I'm gonna give this to you. Okay. Take a break. She's getting a bit of arthritis, so she's a little chubby. She's a little chubby. She's very, very tiny. She's very tiny. It doesn't show up well on the camera there, but she's like, think of like the typical cat that you have seen in your life, and she's about half its size. She was the runt of her litter. So it's hard to balance her weight because her natural size is so small. So like a pound, gaining or losing a pound for a normal sized cat's not that big of a deal, but for her it is. So she's also got kidney failure, which is sad, but it is fairly well controlled right now. So with kidney cats, they have a hard time keeping their weight up. So we prefer to keep her just a little on the heavier side, just to give her some like safety in her weight ranges. Your dad lost a runt that was half the size. That's too bad. That's sad. She did very well. She's very healthy for her age, and yeah, she just doesn't like being picked up too much. She's never liked being picked up, and now she just kind of will reluctantly allow us to. But we think it's uncomfortable on her spine just because she's a bit arthritic. So anyway, I'm going to do this because I love her. All right. Anyway, so that's my cat tax. Cat tax paid. Okay. So back on track here. So one of the other things is I spent some time kind of prettifying my logs a little bit. There's more work I want to do here because I actually want to put this inside the Flux UI at some point, but you can see that not only am I colorizing some stuff here with indentation, but I also am spitting out my logs when encountering an exception. So I can see that this exception did happen inside GTX 2. It was dealing with this kind of a question for the account NT. I mean, that's not really mysterious because you're using LockSim, so we set that up. But okay, so let's go see GTX2 here. Oh, right, the transaction array, obviously. The transaction array itself has to be passed in there. So let me go add that here. That should probably be the only thing that needs to change. Apparently not. FSM. Right, FSM and FEM I'm not using anymore. That was when I was shifting the floor. That was my old, that was my half-assed solution from last night, which again, we've made something better here, so. So it's putting out an object set instead of stringifying it. So I don't actually see what the combos are, but it looks like it still didn't work. So something else might be happening there. It's empty. So it did all that work, and then I ended up with an empty array. I let combos as a new set right up here at the global scope. So when GTX is adding to it, when GTX2 is adding to it, let's log T here. Just to make sure that we're actually getting some combinations. I also want to, I think I also want to log each, I think at the top of GTX here, I will log the Bmax, Bmin, Amax, and Amin times. Amax and Amin. Amen, brother. Should give us some more information. Maybe a lot more information. Oh. So these are all the T values that it's calculating. Wow. I mean, yeah, there's going to be 16 sets of data here. So let's see what it did here. So we have June 7th, 8:59:59 to 8:59 and 0 seconds. So on one of these, I should see that float up to 9 o'clock and 59 seconds and 9 o'clock and 0 seconds. So 8:59 and 59, 8:59, 8:59, 8:59, 8:59. I'm going to be honest, Smork, I think that our idea of just adding 60,000 to it is not working. Because I don't see the actual variance at all across any of these loops. So that's one problem. Oh, do you see this? It's adding it as a fucking string. It's adding it as a string. Yeah, no, I'm not blaming you, Smork, at all. I needed to test, absolutely. I'm just saying, yeah, that doesn't work, is the result of that experiment, so. Alright, so let's restore that. So Bmax will equal times x1. And this will be Bmin. I guess it makes sense, right? Like, why would they have added the add time to the library if you could just add it as a number. So it makes sense if you think about it, I guess. So bmin is x and x1, and then do the same thing with amax here. Amax, no, amax and n and n1 and amin and n and n1. There are many functions in libs that have shorter equivalents in vanilla. It was worth a shot. Yeah, it was worth a shot. JavaScript, I'm still getting used to how it just decides some things are different types on the fly, like whatever. I don't know why or how it decides to do these things. When you do math on them, it's like, I'm gonna make this a string. It's like, okay, make it a string then. It was worth a shot. You're absolutely right. Okay, and then I just have to do the same thing here and here. Okay, so let's try that again. Yeah, that worked. Okay. And then we'll see what our floating times look like now. Lib is not defined. Seriously? Oh, I have it as just L. As opposed to changing that everywhere else where I'm using it. That doesn't make any sense, so I'm just going to do L. 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 I think this stupid pop-up. Autocomplete. Crap. Okay. Okay, well that solved it. So apparently that doesn't look right. So it did 859. And 448. Then it did 447. Then it did 445. And 442. I wanted to see 47, 48, 45, 49. So $60,000, right? Adds, gets the date of date plus add milliseconds in milliseconds. 60,000 milliseconds is a minute. So how come I think I am going to have to also log n in case my math is off here, and n1. Actually, I might as well do the same thing for x and x1 just to make sure I'm not doing something silly here. What? Oh, moved my window size. That was weird. Stop doing that. I mean, the solve is working, but it's not. It might be doing too much work, and it's certainly finding it by accident. So I have x is 0, which makes this -1. Then I have 1 and -1, and then I have 2 and -1. That's because I am doing something stupid, and it's supposed to be x mod 2. It's supposed to be mod 2, not mod 1. Mod 1 is always true for non-zero numbers. Still solving, so that's good. So I do 0 and -1. I do 1 and 1, and then 2 and -1, and then 3 and 1, and 4 and -1, and that's what I wanted. So the minutes are going on a max from 48 to 49, and then down to 47, then up to 50, and then down to 46. And that's what I wanted to see. And then it should be doing on the outer loop the B dates. So the B dates go from 59 to 9 o'clock to 58 to 9:01 to 57. So it looks like I'm doing now the floating back and forth on the boundary conditions instead of futzing around with the floor on the interior, and it is resulting in a solve in only 182 milliseconds. So all of that additional math is only costing like a few dozen milliseconds. So that's actually pretty good. Okay, so I can get rid of these logs. I had another log here. I have this log that I don't need also. And there was one more, I think, right here. That's so, it's actually pretty funny because it's doing all those calculations so quickly. Like all that additional work and all those additional loops and all the floating dates and everything, and the whole lock only takes 107 milliseconds. So at the beginning of it, I was like so concerned. So I think what we're going to do now is we're going to do our little trick that we have for brute forcing solutions here, and that is to throw we're going to throw the beta locksim resetting right into this script so that we can auto it. Time to brute a bunch of locks. Exactly. Yeah. And JavaScript is fast. Yeah. It is. It really is fast. So I think this helped me a lot too, which is at the end I added all of these into a giant set, and then only after, whoops, I don't know what the hell that did. Only after I have all the combinations do I begin making my attempts, instead of doing the attempts in between the processing, because that could have slowed me down a lot on top of that. So yeah, all right. So time to brute force some stuff. So we are going to do beta locksim in here. So I think it's low sec. It doesn't really matter. And we're going to do locks, and then the locks are going to be account NT. That's it. All right. So now when I run this, let's auto this. Sorry, command is not valid for auto. Oh, right, because I need the full script name. Shit. Okay, stop. My auto needs to be slower so I have time to cancel it, because there was an unsolved one in there. I have to be ready to hit escape here. Man, account NT. Actually, it feels like 5 is too slow. So we're going to do auto like 3. Stop. Fuck, nope. Auto 4. Morning, Bokill. Good morning. Good old Saturday morning account NT. Absolutely. Say stop. Fuck. I missed it again. Okay. I guess we do have to do auto 5, and I gotta be real on top of this. It looks like it might be the memos. Stop. 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 Don't do it. Don't do it! Okay. But it looks like it's the memos. A second set of logs, and if it's broken, output only those. It's just the memos, I think. Because if I look at these failures, so this one says it might be broken, and it was transactions without memos. This one said the same thing, without memos, without memos. So, without memos. That's interesting because this one's solved though. This one's solved. But it seems out of all the ones that broke, only the memos ones were broken. When I detect a failed solve, use throw new error. It will kill auto. Ah! Alright. I did not know that. Thank you, Bokill. So let me where is that broken count? So here I can do throw new error. And put a message in here. I guess I don't need to put a message. Okay. So let's give that a test. I think it failed there, and that did not stop auto. See, there's a whole bunch of memos in here that are... Yeah, so it didn't work, Bokill. Is my auto too fast? Like if I do a slower auto? I think my problem is that I'm actually doing a catch. So I think I'm doing that throw, but then I'm catching it and then returning normally still. Yeah, that would do it. Yeah, that's what I was. Yeah. So this is. Put the throw new error in the catch. I have to do both. Because I need to throw an error from there, and then I need to throw the new error from here. Or can I just do throw? Is that valid in JavaScript? No. Can I do throw error? Yes. Up. Unicrack. In your catch, if you see error equals a value, you set throw new error. Yeah, I think I'm just going to throw all of them because I'm not expecting any other exceptions right now on beta log sim. There's so many memos in here that are succeeding. Problem is now I don't get my logs if I throw the error. If I throw the error, I don't get my logs. Wait. That's okay, because that means that beta locksim is currently in the configuration that is causing me an error. That's what I wanted. So I can take this out. Okay, there. And I should be able to, right? Yeah. Okay. There we go. Yes, exactly. I can, yeah. Yeah, Bokill, yeah. We're on the same wavelength there. Okay. So, man, that's bothering me, though, because there were so many memo questions in there that were solving. The dates aren't on like weird boundary conditions. They're basically like, you know, like 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. So that's not like anything crazy. You don't think memo is the issue? Do both those timestamps exist in my logs? I mean, they might not, though the days, so the days are the same, right? This one was on the 7th, and this one was on the 7th. They're both on the 7th at different times, so it's possible it could be a time boundary. Oh, we've got an ad coming up. All right, I'm going to take a very short bathroom break here while our ad comes on. So I will be back in a few minutes. Gotta unmute my headset. There we go. Okay, we're back. Okay, so two things. So Smork, you don't think the memo is the issue, and Bokill, you're wondering about the actual timestamps. So Smork, I do have branching logic somewhere in my memos or not, but what I think is happening, I think it might be kind of a combination of both those two problems. So I am pre-filtering my memos. I'm pre-filtering if memos are specified. Where's GTX? So I do this here. So WWO is with or without memo. So if I'm said it's with a memo, then I filter wherever the memo is not equal to null. But I am by doing this, I am flexing the indexes, and I don't think that that's a good idea because the timestamp index thing might be throwing me off also. So what I want to do, I think, is apply the memo filtering deeper down in this process and not pre-filtering the array, and we're going to see if I gain some stability by doing that. So where do I do that? That's where I'm adding transactions. So I think that's in GTX2 now, because we have all this floating, but the floating is around the dates, not the indexes in my transaction array. No. I'm going to keep that on track because that gave us more stability. So if I have to widen my pattern, in fact, why don't I widen it to 3 minutes on either side? Because it's so fast already. I might as well widen it by 3 minutes. Okay. But I think Bokill, what you suggested might be part of the problem too, and that is if the next indexed transaction is like a day away, then moving 2 minutes versus 3 minutes isn't going to make any difference if it's index based. So I may have to rethink that as well, depending on if we get any luck off of what I'm about to try. So because like here are here's where I calculate the indexes. So I could do the floating here instead, but that would cause us a bunch more refactoring. So let's just wait for a second here. So so if the time, so these are the index times. So here I only want to push it if so if we have with without specified, so I'm gonna have to pass with without in here as well. You accidentally let your out of process run with chat selected. Whoops. Did you just spam a bunch of stuff into channel 0, Smork? I'm not in channel 0, so I wouldn't have seen it. I'm not in there right now. So in here I want another, I want to do basically steal this. So if with without is 1, you wish there was an easy way to switch inputs. Oh, you mean like the input, like frame? Drunk typos? That's okay. It's still, I can still figure it out. So you wish there was an easier way to switch inputs, like the frame inside hackmud? Is that what you're talking about? I mean, I would suggest you not touch it at all. If you've got your automation running, you shouldn't touch it. Does it still work if you minimize it? Because I would just minimize it, so you don't risk clicking somewhere by mistake. Okay, so if with without is 1 and x.memo is not equal to null, if with without is 1 and x memo is not equal to 1, or the opposite, right? I'm gonna have to do this for whatever. Or with without equals -1 and the memo is equal to null, or with without equals 0. If any of those, then push this. I think that's right. You have to unminimize. I guess I haven't tried running my out of process stuff. You were advertising smart keys on channel 0 and then you turned on your bot without switching. Maybe you should bake in advertising into the script. Yeah, because then you could just do like chats.send instead of having to switch, right? You can't send escape if it's minimized. Huh. Oh yeah, and you do like the spamming escape, right? And you use the CLI to display info. What if you like shrank the window so it's really, really tiny and then you could tuck it up in the corner of your monitor and not touch it by accident? Okay, so I think this, I'm going to have to do that all over the place, so I'm going to make this a sub-function also. So this function is just going to be called www, because you want more chicken already? Here you go. Here. And this is going to be, I need to pass x and without into this. So without and x, and then I'm going to do return this condition. So this should return true or false. It was just because you forgot to switch back after advertising your script. Oh, so it's just because you went in there and you touched it to do something else. Yeah, I would recommend probably just doing the, if you want to advertise as part of a regular basis, it makes sense to kind of have like your out of process automation push ads for you. That sounds pretty funny. Okay, so now I should just be able to do if www in here, which should save me some typing without an x. Actually, I should just be able to tag this onto the end. And without. Okay. I'm doing a lot of typing here for stuff that may not be necessary. Especially if this doesn't work. I'm gonna have to undo all this, but whatever. We'll see. That's for the high and low ranges. I also need the floor as well. So for each x, I have to do for each x, I have to do if www with without an x, then floor plus equal x amount. I think that's it. I think. Okay, let's try this. Uptime. No. Up Unicrack. I've been typing uptime too much at work. Nope, that didn't do it. I think what I have to do... Fuck, let's do just a tiny bit of logging here to make sure that that logic is working correctly. So we can log with without. And we can log x, which is actually going to be our transaction. And then we can log. Actually, let's do it like this. Let result equal this. And then we can put the result in here too. With without is undefined. Bad Xylox. Bad. Problem is I did not pass with without into GTX2. There. So maybe this will work. No, still doesn't work. So with without is -1. Let's scroll up. Scrolling up, because it is without, which is -1. We are passing true because this doesn't have a memo. In fact, none of these have memos. I think the annoying part about this is that most of these transactions don't have memos. So the with or without flags should not really have affected the running of my script at all. But it can't just be a coincidence that it's the range. It can't just be a coincidence though. Like, why? I don't like coincidences. Especially in programming. The only failures I get are with the memos. So what this might mean is that the date sloshing that we did is useless. And that we have to slosh the index in the transaction array. Fuck, that's so much. That's what we have to do, right? That's what we have to do. Okay, I think I am going to leave the with and without logic the way that it's written currently though, because I think that that is better than pre-filtering, because pre-filtering will change the indexes. I don't want to change the indexes. I think I've come to that conclusion. First to get the high index, and then the low index. Yeah, so I think what I'm going to do is like this flexibility that I had on the time, I think I'm going to make that flexibility apply to the high and low indexes instead, inside here, right? So I think I move these out of the loop and do the flexing on the indexes the same way that I'm doing now, is flex the indexes back and forth instead of flexing the time, because if the next gap in the transaction array is like 4 days earlier, then flexing 1 minute won't hit it. So I need to flex index, and that's kind of what my fear was here. So that's not too bad. So all I do is I'm going to cut this, I'm going to paste it up here. I am going to, I don't know why that's grayed out. Because they're not being used right now. That's fine, I don't care. So I'm going to deal with a slosh. I'm going to do plus or minus on each range index is what I'm going to do instead. Shinraven. Shinraven? Maybe a play on words on Shinra? Hello? Hello and welcome in. I also, Shinra, I also noticed your follow while I was offline. Shinraven. Well, thank you very much for the follow and welcome in. How are you doing? I hope you're doing good. I am just fighting with my account NT stuff right now. I have it so close. I'm so close. I can feel it. There's just like a tiny bit of boundary condition problem that I'm having, but I'm very close. You discovered my my stream through the hackmud Discord. Awesome. Well, thanks for following through on that and coming and checking me out. I appreciate that. It's funny because I have been putting messages in the official Discord when I start stream, and then it set off a discussion with the Discord moderators about where to put those, because I put them in channel 0, and then people were like, you should put this in Fanworks, and I put it in Fanworks, and they were like, you should put it in channel 0, and I'm like, where do you want me to put it? And KB was like, we are having an internal discussion to find out where best, but at least KB got back to me and said, you know, Xylox, we do want you to share this here though. So for until I hear back, I'm just going to keep putting in Fanworks, because it seems the quietest place for it right now. Anyway, so thank you. Okay, so I have to refactor some of this stuff to slosh on indexes instead, which means that my GTX now needs to change also. It needs to take well, these high outer, high inner, and low inner, and low outer. So HO, HI, li and lo instead. Should take that comment. And I think this is actually going to, it's funny because this issue I wrote down like weeks ago that I suspected there was an issue that I wasn't handling the fuzziness properly. Turns out that my instincts were correct. Maybe I didn't word it correctly, but there was like some fuzziness that I was not handling currently. Okay, so just copy these from here. Takes args. I'm just gonna say takes the args from GTX because I'm not gonna. All right. Okay, so then I have to figure out how to do the fuzziness here as well with indexes. I don't think I'm gonna have to go as high as plus or minus 3, but I'm gonna keep it there for now. You're fresh out of the VLAN. The game is interesting and overwhelming. Curious to see what you guys do at more advanced levels. Oh yeah, don't worry about the typo. Smork is currently a little tipsy, so Smork's making a bunch of typos. Don't worry about it. I'm pretty good at figuring out typos anyway, so yeah, I'm on tier 2 right now. So so when you being in the VLAN, when you first come out of it, you're at tier 0 until you do sys.init, and then you're tier 1. So, and then once you get used to getting through all those locks and stuff, then you move up to tier 2, which is where I am. I think tier 3 is considered like the highest tier, though there are like, I think what people consider tier 4, which is just like a special supercomputer puzzle. But yeah, so in tier 1, yeah, your first steps are going to be figuring out how to make things faster and more efficient. In tier 2, it's kind of the locks get way more complicated. So the account NT thing, I thought I was crazy because my code that I'm making for the account NT represents like what feels like 80% of all of my locks. 80% of the code is just for this one lock. And I thought I was nuts, but talking to people on Discord, it seems like that is that's pretty typical for account NT. It's just the lock that takes the most code. So I have to do bin mat. I haven't seen any bin mat yet. Haven't seen any bin mat. Okay, so I have to do some refactoring here. So the first thing is these have to change to HOHI, LI, and LO. I'm just gonna copy these and paste them here. And then the flexibility here needs to be on the index and not the date. So H, now this sucks because I have 4 indexes. I had 2 dates. Oh no, I had 4 dates before. This should be fairly similar to what I was doing before. So I'm using a text editor to create or use my scripts, or it's all in game. Yeah, I'm using VS Code with HSE, which is a hackmud scripting environment. So it's like it's a command line tool that you install, and then it allows you to store all of your scripts in one place, and then it does like the minifying and everything for you, so it like shrinks it down. So what my actual script looks like is let me show what my script actually looks like, the one that I'm working on right now. So this is what HSE actually turns it into, and it's not very readable. Another hackmud player, Samuel T. Norman, made this tool. And this is like, if you're not familiar with it, this is called minifying. So what it does is it tries to make everything as small and compact as possible to save you characters, because that's one of the limits you have to deal with when you're writing scripts, is you have a character limit. And you can extend that by loading character count upgrades. But VS Code is a fairly, I'm not going to say popular, it's a fairly widespread tool. Programmers are fairly divisive about using it or another editor, but that's what I use. It's the kinds of tools I'm used to for now. So it's like a special type of text editor, essentially, if you want to think of it that way. I'm assuming, Raven, that you're new to programming in general, or are you new to JavaScript, or like what's your experience level? All right, I've got to do the fuzziness on the indexes here. So if I move the high outer and high inner, that should be enough, because I think my floor calculation is based off them too. Yeah, so I should be able to do basically the same thing that I was doing here, and that's do high outer plus equals x times x1. I think it might be that simple, which is actually a lot shorter. And then high inner is plus equal to x times x1. So that'll move the upper window in one chunk of the same size, like this. But if it moves away from the lower one, the floor will automatically extend, because I'm using the high inner as the boundary already as a variable. And then I should be able to do the exact same thing here with the lower. So I do low inner, just for the sake of having them in the right order, and low outer, and these will be n, 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 n. And here, the crossover is going to be with the high inner and low inner. So I never want high inner to be less than low inner, because that means that my windows have overlapped, and that will cause all kinds of problems. Raven, you have an idea, but it's very minimal. You messed around with C++ in college and taught yourself Visual Basic, but never really made a functionally working program. Well, that's okay. I mean, it's awesome that you're you're getting into this, and hopefully hackmud makes programming fun and interesting enough to get you to build those skills. For me, I've been writing code for like almost 20 years, just professionally. I've been writing code since I was like 7, and I started with just like basic, like regular basic. But I have not, I'm kind of in the same position with you, but with JavaScript. I haven't touched JavaScript since college, and I only used a tiny bit of it. So I've been kind of building my JavaScript knowledge as I've been working at hackmud. So I found it like really motivating way of teaching me kind of a new language. And it's the gamifying of it that hackmud does has been very helpful for me, because I have ADHD, so I have a problem like focusing on new skills and learning new skills. And I have found like the gaming aspect and reward structure of hackmud has been helping to kind of like keep me really focused. So it's been super helpful. So hopefully it does the same thing for you, Raven. Yeah, Smork does a lot of VB.NET, because Smork's out of process stuff. So there's like an out of process automation, so you can build a standalone like Windows app that then interacts with the game and sends it commands and reads the screen and stuff like that to do more than what you'd be capable of doing just through the in-game scripting. And that is allowed per the rules of the game. You're even allowed, if you know how, I don't, if you know how to read the memory of the game instead of just like reading the screen, you're allowed to do that. You're just not allowed to write to the memory or modify it in any way. But that's all allowed also, which is pretty cool. Used to make AOL Instant Messenger punters back in the day. I'm assuming the punters you mean like DOSing someone's IP address so that it would knock them offline. Is that what you're talking about? I used to use tools like that when I was younger. Back when I was a wee lad. There was one called Nuke, I think, was the program that I used. And if you knew someone's IP address, it would just DDoS them and just knock them offline. I used to use that on MSN Messenger to like MSN Messenger and ICQ and stuff. It's similar but not as harsh as DDoS. Smork, you tried reading memory, but your cheat engine skills are lacking. Yeah, and I've read that cheat engine can be kind of difficult because like there's some very subtle toggle with cheat engine that if you have it on, it's technically counts as writing to client memory, so it would be violating the rules. But yeah, I'm not. Screen dumping has been good enough for me, so I haven't had the need to do any of that client stuff. The job of your punter was just to knock someone offline. Yeah, it's pretty funny. Someone says something annoying and you're like, enjoy being knocked offline. Bomb. Just knock them out. All right, so let's now that we've got our index flexing, let's see if this is going to work. I can probably actually remove the without logging for now. Unicrack. Bmax is not defined. Okay, so I got something. Oh, I think I know what this is. I think I need more parameters in here. I almost feel like passing this in as an object at this point because there's so many parameters. So I'm not going to do that right now. Well, why? Wait, hold on. Why is Oh, whoops! I forgot to change this. I think that might be it. Hopefully that's it. No, there's still something in here. I think GTX2 has got references to, yeah, it's got references to time in here. I think for now I'm just gonna have to pass them in also. So I'm gonna have to do Bmax, Bmin, Amax, and Amin. It's a lot of parameters, but whatever. That's just how it's gonna be for now. I can make this more efficient later if I have to. I just want to get it working. Fuck. I can't believe I did all that and it's still not working. Okay, what I think I need to do now is I think I need to log my indexes so that I see them shifting properly. So we're going to log these indexes here. I have to make this into a string. And I'll log them here also, and I want to make sure that they're flexing properly. More logging and try to solve manually. Yeah, Okay, so I start with 1, 1, and 1, 1. Then I start with 1, 1, and 0, 0.
Brondo's got a Prince.
Yeah, it's got electrolytes.
What are electrolytes? Do
see
you
my
even
problem.
know? It's what they use to make
I start with
Brondo.
1,
Yeah,
1,
but
and
why do
1,
they
1.
use them to make Brondo?
Because Ronald's got electrolytes.
I think my initial starting indexes are not right. Oh, sorry. I'm gonna hydrate here. I've got just the last bottom of my coffee. All right, that's it. So two problems. The first problem is, actually, I think I might be flexing correctly. I think actually maybe it's just one problem, and that is that my starting indexes are 1 for all of them. It's 1, 1, 1, 1. And that means that I have nothing. So I think I have to look at my transaction array, and I have to find out what's going wrong with these dates. So let's do, actually, you know what? I'm going to spit them out from the log instead, because it's going to be easier to see. So after I do all this logging, I'm going to log json.stringify ta. Oh, free frag. Well, first of all, welcome in, and thank you for the 30 bits, and thank you for the nice big thumbs up. Welcome in. How are you doing? All right. Let's see here. So, okay, let's look at these transactions, because I have a feeling that this is, I think BoKillU suggested this earlier, and that is that I may not have any transactions on one or either of those dates, and it's doing something funny. You're mostly lurking, just trying to learn something from me. Well, that's okay too. I'm trying to learn something. I'm also trying to learn something. What the hell is account NT doing, and what the hell is wrong with my code? So it wants 0607. So the transaction array is supposed to be this is interesting. So how come my transaction array is starting at 0607? So I think that's the problem. That's the problem. Is it's my array of transactions has been trimmed down too soon. I trimmed it down. Where did I trim it down? I did A. Nope, that's not it. So I might have trimmed it down outside of GTX. That's GTX2. Count NT. So I have my transactions. For each transaction, this is me populating them. I do TAM, which is transaction amount memos. Shit, what am I doing here? This is if it's ML. That's not a problem. Let me make sure that this is actually behaving the way that I am expecting it to. Okay, it goes all the way down to the 5th. Oh, that's all the way back into May, actually. It definitely... That's not today. What the hell is going on here? If I do count 10, fuck it, if I do count 5. Where? Where did my most recent transactions go? What? Where did my most recent transactions go? Where are they? Where'd they go? How come my transactions from like today aren't in here anymore? Where did they go? Am I on the right user? No, I'm not on the right user. That's where they went. I thought I was on my primary user. My library user does not have any transactions. Jesus. Thanks, Bokill. If you think it's not you, it's probably you. That's the lesson there. There, Free Frag, I hope you learned something. If you think that hackmud is the one having the problem, it's probably not. Okay. So we're back to fuck. Let's go back to the real problem here instead of that stupid diversion. Okay, so my starting range and my ending range are both 1, which I think is incorrect. So we want from 8:43 on the 7th to 10:04 p.m. So 8:43 would be so that's the thing. There is nothing at 8:43. It goes from 4:30 to 7:30 p.m. 4:30 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. So my date is not in there at all. So that's the first problem. So the other problem is I noticed this didn't go down to 0. Why didn't it go to 0? Supposed to do +1, -2. It did something different here. It did -2, +3. I think my stepping is not working correctly either. It went all the way down to -18. That doesn't seem correct either. Why would there wouldn't be a -18. So I need to start at 0. I am starting at 0. I need my indexes to start at 0, you mean? No. So I should step to 0. But in my whole transactions, I don't want to start at 0 because the date it wants could be like index 20. There will be no point climbing that high on my transaction range. So I need to start at wherever I've detected my date, and then shift my window back and forth in larger and larger increments. The problem is my detected index for the start range is 1, which is correct. You've never seen it start at index 20. I mean, that's fine, but you know, algorithmically, the code should not care, right? It's given the date. It should be able to find the date, find that date's index, and then start there. So it doesn't matter if it's 1 or 5 or 20. That's not really the issue. The issue is that my code is wrong. I should do it right. Yeah. I mean, like, you know, I think Smork, you're not wrong, right? And in fact, like, once you understand the rules of the game, I think that you could take shortcuts like that. Like, I built my QR code reader to handle like all the versions of QR codes, but hackmud only uses like versions 9, 10, and 11 or something. So I did too much work. I didn't need to do all that work. And certainly, you know, if you've never seen it start at index 20, you'd probably be safe starting at like 3 or 0 at the end of the day. But right now, I don't know if this is the only problem, so I want to make sure that I get it working correctly first before I start taking shortcuts. So there's a pretty big delta between the timestamp the lock gave me and the transaction value. So this is accounts. So this is accounts count all. I don't think I even. This is accounts at count all. It's a subset because I've only taken the timestamp, the amount, and the memo. But this is literally what my transaction history shows. So the starting index is well, let's look. So the first date it gives is the 7th at 8:43 a.m. My code detects the first date that is at that minute or after it. And this index 1 is correct. It is the first date that is at or after, or sorry, at or before that date, because the index 0 is much earlier. So that first index is correct. The first problem I have is that I should be stepping down by 1, and instead I went down 2. I went from 1 to -1. I should have gone to 0. Second, my indexes should never be negative. I can't have a negative index. So that's another problem, is I'm allowing this stepping logic to go negative. So what about the second date? So the second date is the same day, the 7th at 2004. So that is 10:04 p.m. And it's the same thing here. The first index that is after 10:04 is also index 1. So really, my whole range is index 1. It's just this amount. This is the only transaction between these two times. So this should be fine. I'm actually a little surprised that this answer wasn't correct, but I think it's because it might be the first two transactions that it wants, and I never did index 0 and index 1 as any of my options here. I did index 0 and index -15 for whatever reason. My stepping is wrong. My stepping's busted. It should never have stepped down to -15. That's stupid. It should never have gotten there. I can tell you probably what part of the problem is. Part of the problem is I need to reset these between my loop attempts. That might be the first problem. But this should have gone from no modifier to plus 1 and then minus 2. So 1 plus 1 should have given me 2. Minus 2 should have given me 0, and it didn't do that. I'm not sure why. I need to do a max I and 0. That's probably the safest bet. I'm worried that I'd be doing too much work if I do that. I might just add it in here that if h at I is less than I or L at I, so if there's crossover, then I'll skip. I think I also want to say if any of the numbers are negatives, then skip as well. So what that means is if or this is going to be very lengthy, or h at I is less than 0, or L inner, sorry, H outer, or H inner, or low inner, or low outer. If any of those are below 0, then I will skip. And I'm going to take this condition and I'm going to put it here as well. That should do it. And that'll save me some unnecessary calculations. Okay, we're running short on time here. So I did 1 and 1, 1 and 0, 2 and 0, but then I didn't go and do the zeros for some reason. If high inner, I think this is wrong. I think this should be greater than. If high inner is greater than low inner, that means low inner has become 4 and high inner has become 5. That's the problem there. Still broken, but I'm seeing my zeros now. So I start at 0 and 6. Start at 0 and 6. And then I eventually go down to 1 and 1. That's weird. So high outer should start at 1. Let me log what I start with. I start with 0 and 6. 6? I thought I started with 1. 2004. 6. Oh, it's because it's 2004. Shit. Not 1004. This is in 24 hours. No, hold on. 8:43. a.m. is down here. I think my high and low stuff is I'm confusing myself. Okay. I've got to go. Unfortunately, I have to call it here. I have some errands I have to run before noon. But I think I'm going to I'm probably going to end up keep working away on this. I've got a pretty busy weekend, so we'll see. We'll see what happens. Good work today. It's kind of you to say so, Bokill. It's definitely like the flexing. Try smork.keys real quick. Timeout, continue with N12. That's pretty cool. It's pretty cool looking. Free frag, be good and take care, everyone. Yeah, everyone, take care. I don't want this. I don't want to end on an ad here, so we're gonna get out of here real quick. Come follow me on my Discord if you want notifications of when I go live or announcements about canceled or bonus streams. Otherwise, thanks very much for coming in and hanging out, everyone. Thanks for the new follow. Thanks for the 30 bits. All right, everyone, have a great weekend, and hopefully I'll see you all soon. Okay, take care, everyone.